is setting Diddy up. He ain't doing different.
Jay-Z worked so fucking hard to change the name.
He's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah.
Okay, so this situation with Beyonce and Jay-Z, it's turning out to be way more complicated than anyone expected. Word on the street is they're not just connected to all this drama, they could actually be next in line to get pulled in. We're talking tapes, wild rumors, and federal prosecutors naming names. Before we go any further, real quick, if you're into breaking stories like this and want to help us hit our first 1,000 subscribers, just tap that subscribe button. It means a lot and keeps us going. Now back to it. Everything really started to spiral once Diddy's trial began picking up steam. Suddenly, we had shocking testimony coming out, leaked recordings surfacing, and court documents dropping like bombshells across the industry. But here's the part that really has everyone talking. This isn't just about Diddy anymore. According to some pretty intense reports, prosecutors are preparing to go after the people in his inner circle, and not just anyone. We're talking high-profile names, names that carry serious weight. And sitting right at the top of that list, Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. He ain't doing different.
And this isn't just internet gossip anymore. According to multiple sources, Beyonce has already postponed some upcoming tour dates, and she's seriously considering leaving the country with Jay, but not for a getaway. This looks a lot more like a strategic exit. Word is, if things get legal and fast, they're planning to pull a Russell Simmons move, disappear to a country with no extradition treaty. That's not just a rumor, that's a calculated plan. For a long time, people assumed Jay-Z was the one deep in Diddy's wild world, and Beyonce was just along for the ride. But now, it's sounding like she may have been more involved than anyone thought. There's growing talk that she knew exactly what kind of lifestyle Diddy was into, and not only accepted it, but was fully part of that world. Now that prosecutors are circling, it looks like both of them are trying to get out while they still can. And here's where it gets even murkier. Jay and Diddy weren't just industry friends, they were close. Like real inner circle close. So close that Jay was one of only 2 people allowed to call Diddy by his real name, Sean. The other person, Diddy's own mother. That's not just a casual friendship, that's deep trust. And it wasn't just behind the scenes either. Diddy was all over Roc Nation events, especially their annual brunch, one of the most exclusive gatherings in the game. He was practically a fixture. But after the Cassie lawsuit dropped, Jay and Beyonce cut him off like he never existed. Scrubbed, vanished. But let's be honest, that kind of sudden distance only raised more eyebrows, especially after what DaBaby shared. He said he was invited to a super secret party at Diddy's Los Angeles mansion back in 2020. And guess who else was in that room with him? Yep, Jay-Z and Beyonce. DaBaby made it sound like a high-level invite-only gathering. But the way he described the vibe, let's just say it had a very specific energy. And that's when the internet detectives started connecting the dots. But here's where things take a darker turn. Jay-Z's past, the one many tried to forget, is starting to resurface. For years, there have been whispers that Jay had a relationship with Foxy Brown when she was just 15.
Jay-Z worked so fucking hard to change the name.
Now those whispers about Jay and Foxy Brown, they've been floating around for years. But here's where it gets even more unsettling. When Dame Dash, Jay-Z's former business partner and someone who was there for everything in the early days, was asked about it directly, he didn't deny it. In fact, during a sit-down interview, Dame got visibly uncomfortable. He didn't want to say too much, didn't want to be the one to confirm anything on the record. Instead, he basically told the host, "Go ask Jay yourself." That moment said a lot without saying anything at all. And when people started connecting the dots, that incident, plus Jay-Z's longtime collaborations with R. Kelly, despite all the red flags around him, the picture started to look even more disturbing. Patterns started to emerge.
He's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch. couch.
Let's not forget, Jay-Z and R. Kelly didn't just work on a song or two, they made an entire album together, went on tour, stood side by side on stage, night after night. And when Dame Dash was asked why he eventually distanced himself from Jay, he kept it simple, because Jay never distanced himself from R. Kelly. That one sentence said it all. And now when people start comparing Jay to Diddy, it doesn't feel so far-fetched anymore. But the Beyonce connection, that's where things really start to twist, and it only gets more surreal from here. From the outside, Jay-Z and Beyonce have always been the picture of perfection. Power couple energy, flawless red carpet moments, and a carefully curated image that made them look untouchable. The king and queen of the music world. But behind that perfect facade, some say it was never really a love story, more like a billion-dollar business arrangement. And now that their names are being whispered in legal circles, people are starting to re-examine how it all began. And the deeper you dig, the more unsettling it gets. Jay has a long history of being older, powerful, and gravitating toward young women just getting started in the industry. After the Foxy Brown situation and the rumors of hush money that followed, Aaliyah was suddenly in his orbit. This was right after R. Kelly's disturbing marriage to her had come to light. Insiders say Jay started trying to win Aaliyah over. Lavish gestures, flowers, exclusive invites, the whole mogul playbook. But Aaliyah wasn't having it. According to people close to her, it was actually Dame Dash who caught her interest. And what's even darker, some say it felt like a twisted power game. Jay-Z and R. Kelly competing for Aaliyah like she was some kind of prize.
Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah.
And then, there were the whispers about Aaliyah's death. Some claimed it wasn't just a tragic accident. Rumors began swirling that she was pressured into boarding that plane, and even sedated without her consent. Conspiracy or not, it raised one haunting question. Who really had a hand in what happened? After that chapter closed, Jay-Z turned his attention to someone else, Beyonce. She was young, talented, and just beginning her rise. People close to her have said she barely had a childhood. Her mother was deeply involved in her career, making most of the decisions for her. She reportedly had just one boyfriend in high school. And then Jay showed up. He was older, wildly successful, and already a giant in the industry. Jay once said he first met Beyonce when she was just 16, but waited until she turned 18 to pursue her. But those close to her claim the influence and control had already started long before that. The power dynamic was clear, and far from equal. He was the gatekeeper. Once she stepped through that door, he ran everything. Her music, her image, her schedule, even her sense of self. She looked up to him, and he made sure it stayed that way. Which brings us to Uncle Ron, Beyonce's former bodyguard, who went viral after dropping explosive claims. He said, flat out, that Jay got Beyonce addicted to drugs and alcohol, just to keep her under control, keep her dependent, keep her from asking too many questions. It's an eerie parallel to the allegations Cassie made against Diddy, a toxic pattern of manipulation, addiction, and control. Insiders say Beyonce has been quietly trying to break free. She's tired, not just of Jay, but of the constant control from her team, and even her own mother. Some say she feels like she's never truly had a life of her own. She's not a person, she's a brand. But now, as everything begins to fall apart, it might finally be too much. There are whispers that she's been making quiet moves to leave the relationship and walk away for good. She's spoken about depression, about feeling trapped. One source even said she's considered ending it all, not because she wants to, but because she doesn't see a way out. And now, with prosecutors digging deeper, time might be running out. The internet is watching. Every step, every silence, every sudden disappearance, it's all being tracked. And those same fans who used to defend them, they're starting to ask real questions. How involved were Jay-Z and Beyonce with Diddy? Why are there so many disturbing patterns when you trace their past? And most of all, why are they so quiet now? People quickly noticed the Roc Nation brunch, once the hottest invite in the industry, just vanished. No announcements, no posts, no explanations. It used to be clockwork. Celebs would beg for an invite. Jay and Bey would post about it like it was a royal ceremony. But now, now, nothing. Complete silence. That silence by itself speaks volumes. And then there's the money trail. Sources say Beyoncé has already started quietly backing out of deals, renegotiating contracts, and even canceling tour dates. Not because of low sales, but because she's stacking cash fast. There are even rumors she planned to file for divorce, leave Jay, drop the news, and disappear. But now, that plan seems to have changed. Once prosecutors reportedly started looking at both of them, it shifted into a let's get out of the country together strategy. Insiders say they're eyeing nations with no extradition treaties, places where the U.S. can't legally bring them back if charges are filed. Think hidden estates, luxury hideouts, fake identities, a full-on escape plan. They've seen what happened to Diddy, the raids, the lawsuits, the headlines. They don't want to be next. And what's shocking is how quickly public opinion flipped. For years, Jay-Z was seen as the brilliant businessman who made it out of the streets and became a billionaire. Beyoncé was worshipped as flawless, a goddess of music, style, and power. But now, the cracks are showing. The manipulation, the obsession with control, the perfect image that doesn't match the behind-the-scenes reality. It all started unraveling when Cassie spoke out. Then came the tapes, the witnesses, the stories that began aligning across time. And suddenly, people started wondering how many others were involved. How many knew, but stayed quiet because it benefited them? Jay and Bey were once just whispered about. Now, their names are floating around legal circles. That's a whole new level of risk. Online movements are demanding accountability, both legal and social. Some want travel restrictions, others want immediate investigations. But the loudest voices, they're not coming from critics, they're coming from fans. People who used to look up to Beyoncé now say she never seemed free, that she's been trying to escape for years, and we all miss the signs. Jay's past is catching up fast. Old interviews, old cases, former partners coming out of the woodwork. Even Dame Dash isn't staying silent anymore. This isn't about rumors now. This is about an empire built on power, silence, and strategy, starting to collapse. And silence, it won't protect them anymore. So the question is, will Jay-Z and Beyoncé escape before the truth catches up to them? Or will everything fall apart before they have the chance to run? This story is unraveling fast. And if even half of it is true, we're about to see one of the biggest downfalls in entertainment history. But what do you think? Is this the beginning of the end for Jay-Z and Beyoncé? Or is there more we haven't uncovered yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read everything. If you found this video eye-opening, hit the like button so more people see it. And if you want to stay ahead of the headlines as this story develops, make sure to subscribe. We've got more coming, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next.